Today we will discuss about the work monitoring, which is increasingly being implemented by the companies. Around 78% of the companies currently use monitoring tools to monitor the activities of the employee. The implementation of the system does have the positive or negative aspect, especially related to the privacy and psychological health of the employee. The main problem is when monitoring is conducted excessively, it can cause stress, anxiety, loss of trust, and also decrease the productivity. Therefore, this research is focused on the main question: how does the implementation of work monitoring system affect the employee productivity and also privacy? The aim is to identify the relationship between work monitoring, productivity, and also the factor can have a positive or negative aspect on employee. We hope that this research will provide a deeper understanding of the impact of the workplace surveillance on employee productivity and privacy. In addition, the results of this study are expected to serve as a reference for a company in designing the effective and balanced surveillance system in order to improve the performance without sacrificing an employee welfare and privacy.
Based on our literature review, we've created 3 variables for our study. The first one is supervision and productivity. Past research have shown that constant monitoring makes employees feel uncomfortable and less efficient. However, more recent studies have shown that transparent and supportive surveillance can actually improve productivity. The second one is perceived privacy. Privacy concerns are centered to how employees respond to surveillance. Monitoring that invades privacy increases stress and reduces acceptance. In contrast, when employees feel their autonomy is respected, surveillance is more likely to be well received. The last one is productivity outcomes. Intrusive surveillance often causes resistance and disengagement, which lowers productivity. However, supportive monitoring can build self-efficacy and improve performance. And based on this, we've developed 2 hypotheses. Hypothesis 1, higher levels of employee supervision predict lower work efficiency. Hypothesis 2, the negative impact of supervision on work efficiency is mediated by perceived privacy. And I will explain the methodology used in our research. The study applies a quantitative approach with a cross-sectional survey design, and the data was collected using a Likert scale questionnaire distributed online. The independent variable is surveillance, measured with 10 items on a 5-point Likert scale, reflecting the level of surveillance applied. And the dependent variables are privacy and productivity, both measured with 7 items covering aspects of their perceived privacy during work for privacy variable, while the productivity covers self-rated performance. And the sampling is the population consists of employees across various occupations in Indonesia. Based on BPS Indonesia, the reference population is very large, approximately 144 million. To determine the sample size, the Slovene formula was applied with a 16% margin of error. Since the population is large and in result, we need to gain 39 respondents, so using convenient sampling, we collected 42 valid responses. It is important to note that this study emphasizes the instrument reliability and initial findings rather than full generalization.
Now I will share you the result and discussion of our research. The majority of our respondents were aged between 18 to 25 years old, followed by above 40 years old, followed again by around 26 to 40 years old. And then we also found that the occupation is mostly office worker, followed by freelancer, and then followed again by part-timer or intern. The next one is we also conduct a validity test. We found that the most items are valid with a score of critical items to total correlation above 0.3, but we found that 4 items are invalid, which are privacy number 3, productivity number 2, productivity number 8, and 10. We also conduct a reliability test for all variables, and all variables are reliable with score of Cronbach alpha above 0.7. And then we also do an assumption test. We found that both hypotheses are linear. We also found that the normality tests both are normal using Box-Cox and also Shapiro-Wilk. Then for the homoexedacity test, we use Brooks-Pagan test, and we found that there is no homoexedacity in the result. We also did a regression test, and the regression showed that both hypotheses 1 and 2 have the t-stat above the t-critical, which means we need to reject the null hypothesis. And we also found that the p-value is below 0.05 alpha, which means there is a significant effect of surveillance on productivity, and also for the hypothesis 2, there is significant effect of surveillance on privacy.
In the conclusion, our research found that workplace surveillance significantly affect the employee in two important ways. First, it reduces their sense of privacy, employee being controlled, and this changes how they experience in their workplace. The second, surveillance also impact productivity. It can motivate them to perform, but at the same time, it can create pressure that affect the quality of the work. In short, surveillance is not just a technical system, but it has real psychological and behavioral consequences. So, what should the organization do? The answer is balance. Surveillance should be used to support productivity but not affect the cost of employee trust and privacy. Companies need to be transparent about why monitoring exists, limit unnecessary data collection, and combine surveillance with supportive leadership. For future researchers, we recommend expanding this study with the larger sample and exploring how factors like organizational culture or job satisfaction may shape this relationship. That's all for us. Thank you.